Hello, mathematicians. I'm Miss Kennedy.
And I'm Mrs. Bradley. Welcome to your very first flipped lesson.
That means you are in charge of listening and thinking about this new spin on frames and arrows.
Then tomorrow, we get to spend more time in class together exploring this new spin on frames and arrows.
But first, before we get to the new spin, we got to make sure we have this old stuff down. Right now, 3, a 2, or a 1. If you're doing a self-check about frames and arrows, right here at your heart, how do you feel? Are you really, really confident? Maybe a little bit? Or yikes, not so much? Oh, all right. Let's practice it. Remember that we always want to start with the rule. So here, what is the rule? If you said plus 10, you got it. And I look here at my first bubble, my first frame, and it says 45. So my job, whenever I see this arrow, is to add 10. A trick that I know to show my mathematician thinking is to write plus 10 wherever I see that arrow. So let me see, 45 plus 10, 55. And I see that arrow again, 55 plus 10, 65. And oh dear, this arrow's shaped a little funny, but I know if I follow it down and give it a plus 10 there, I just have to put a 75 because 65 plus 10 is 75. One more, mathematicians. 75 plus 10 is 85. Now, I'm going to hand it off to Mrs. Bradley, and she gets to be the one who explains to you this new spin on frames and arrows.
All right, are you ready, mathematicians? I think you are. We will start right over here, and I'm going to reveal our new spin. You saw the first rule? Now you notice we have 2 rules. That's why we call this double frames and arrows. So we'll start with plus 10, and I have to look and see what my second rule is. So close your eyes. Open your eyes, mathematicians. You can see plus 10 is our first rule. Our second rule is minus 1. We have 2 rules for our double frames and arrows. Now I have to make sure our frames are ready for our 2 rules. So this is what we see at first. We just see our starting off number. And I go to my very first rule, since this is my first frame. And I'm going to do Miss Kennedy's trick of putting my first rule in the first place. So I think 45 plus 10, yes, 55. But then I have this second rule. So this is my second arrow. So I'm going to write my new rule right up here, because I know it's an A-B pattern. First rule, second rule. And we can keep going all the way around with those arrows, following just as Miss Kennedy said. Plus 10, minus 1. And I continue all the way around the frames. So now I'm ready to plug in the numbers. 45 plus 10 is 55. That's my first rule. I'm at 55. My second rule says to subtract 1. 55 take away 1. You got it. If you said 54. I'm back to my first rule. 54 plus 10. Thinking, I like it. 64. Now I'm at 64. I'm ready for my second rule. Take away 1. 63. So we just followed a pattern. And sometimes if you can't see what's the first rule, second rule, it's an A-B pattern. First, and then sometimes you'll even see what we call a broken arrow, because it's different from the first rule. First rule, second rule. First rule, second rule. It fits the A-B pattern. Solid line, broken line, solid line, broken line. And we completed what we call a double. Frames and arrows.
All right, mathematicians, we cannot wait to see how wonderful your brains have worked this afternoon. So, give us a thumbs up if you are excited to explore this concept even further tomorrow.
We can't wait to see you. Good night.